Somehow Palpatine returned.
What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Dust in the wind. All we are is dust.
Not the beast! Ah! You see who that is? Huh? It's your mom!
think we're live right now. I'm not really sure. Basically, my browser has frozen, so it's a mystery what's happening to me. I'm just going to talk like I am live. Welcome back, ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. We don't do live streams very often, as you can tell, because right now we're having technical difficulties. So what we want to do today is I want to talk about some of the hot new things that are going on in the MCU right now, and I want to kind of run through these news stories. We actually have a kind of an exclusive on something. It's a rumor. It's like unsubstantiated, but it's an interesting thing that I want to talk about. So I've got a special guest that I'm going to have on in just a second, and then we're going to take Q&A questions from you guys. We have to prioritize super chats, but I'm hoping to talk to a lot of you. We did this 4 months ago for the first time. I absolutely love doing it. And we want to have time to do it again. Right now, we have a very rare period where we're in between things. We're between doing the Acolyte and all this other stuff and X-Men 97. So we want to talk to you guys right now. And actually, my screen is still frozen. So I don't know if I'm going out live on YouTube right now or not, or what's going on. So if I am live, if somebody could please tell me on Slack what's going on, I would really appreciate that. Doesn't look like I am. Let's see. And I am live, and I have been live, and now everything is caught up. I'm really glad that I pretended like I was live, even though I couldn't see or hear anything on the screen. How are you guys doing? Looks like I am live. Did everybody hear me right from the start? Did you hear the beginning of what I was saying? Just looking here in the comments if that's true, if we did, and it looks like all right. Said I cut off a little bit, but basically, guys, we're doing a live stream here. We don't do live streams very often. We have technical difficulties every time we do it, and this was happily no exception. I love doing live streams because I actually get to talk to all of you. Normally, I'm just in the store with Doug, and I don't get to actually feel like I'm connected to other human beings. The last live stream we did because we had a live show coming up, and we haven't done one in 4 months because it's been busy. Because X-Men 97 was really hard to cover. And I had to read a lot of X-Men comic books. And there were a lot of talkbacks and other movies coming out we were excited about. And right now, we've got a really brief window between X-Men 97 and Furiosa and Planet of the Apes and all the deluge of stuff that's coming out in June. And in July, basically, me and the rest of the staff are planning on not doing anything except making videos for you guys because there's so much cool stuff coming up. So I'm going to bring on a special guest in just a second. And we're going to talk about some of these new Marvel rumors we have coming up. Lots of stuff. We actually have a little bit of an exclusive on something. I wouldn't really, it's like a one source story. It's not a big deal, but it's something I'm excited to talk to you guys about. And also, there's a lot of buzz right now about Giancarlo Esposito, Gus from Breaking Bad being cast in the MCU. So I'm going to talk to our guest about that. And then after that, we are going to address questions from you guys. And like I just said, we have to prioritize super chat questions. But then I'm hoping to get to a lot of people so we can hear what you guys have to say, what you think of the channel, and where you want us to move things in the future. So let me bring on my special guest. You guys know him from the Guardians of the Galaxy podcast, Mr. Tommy Bechtold. How you doing, Tommy?
Hey, good. How are you, Ryan?
Well, everything froze. Everything completely froze. I had one too many tabs open. So people got to, I don't know, if you guys might have just been seeing this.
No, I was enjoying it. You were live, but it felt very post-apocalyptic, like you were trying to see if anyone was out there.
It is the video store at the end of the world, so we have that going for us. I cut you off. What did you say?
No, that was all. That was all. I'm excited to talk some Marvel. We got a lot of stuff going on, like you said, and we are in that sometimes calming, sometimes terrifying valley in between large projects coming out. So it's always fun to
the eye of the hurricane stuff right now, man. It's crazy. Like if you look at June alone, why these streaming services double and triple up like when there's competition now. This is like August 2021. Yeah. You remember those times when it was a Star Wars, Rick and Morty, House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, and She-Hulk. Like literally every day of the week was an Easter egg video. And I love doing Easter egg videos, but I also like follow-up videos and things like that. But anyways.
And sleep.
Huh? And sleep. Sleep is also, have you tried sleep? Oh my God.
I've been trying to get into sleep this year. That was my New Year's resolution, sleep.
And is it working out for you so far?
Not so far. So far, mostly nightmares, but that's 2024 for you.
Same. They still haven't abated since I saw Madam Web. So the first thing I want to ask you about, and this literally just happened. I saw on Twitter they finally released the Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket.
Oh, they released it all right. Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I was gonna look at it in a different tab on the computer, but now I can't do that, so I'm gonna just
Yeah. Treat
Okay.
yourself. It is.
Yeah, I
Let me,
got
let
it.
me-
Disgusting
let me
film
put it to you
tweeted
this
it.
way: if you've been to Urgent Care as much as I have from the Dune popcorn bucket, this is a welcome sight.
Well, it depends
I
what you put on your popcorn, Tommy. Oh
I put
my
lava.
God. Okay.
Scalding
I don't
lava.
know. I don't think we have the technology to put this popcorn bucket up on the screen. So everybody just get your phones out right now or minimize YouTube if you have YouTube Premium and just take a look at the glory of that Dune popcorn
Good God.
of Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket. My goodness.
Isn't it funny that like it's definitely
know their
not his prime agenda, but like somewhere in the B and C category of making Deadpool 3, Ryan Reynolds' main goal is to humiliate Hugh Jackman as much as possible.
Well, that's also it's so cool though because it's a running theme that was in
Yes.
the other movies. Is meta
Right.
like him, wearing the Hugh Jackman mask and
Mhm.
Wolverine being on the spike after a little bit and
Yes. Oh my
stuff.
God. Yes.
So like we had all that,
Yes.
and then that's all playing out because he's a meta character in the real world. I absolutely
Right.
love it. So
Me
first
too.
of all, there's a lot of MCU rumors going around right now. A lot of them about TV shows, some about movies. We had somebody reach out to us a while back. I'm not going to say who. And again, it's a one source rumor, but this person's an actor who told me that they had been called in to, they got a casting call for a Kingpin pilot episode. Now, again, this person could have been making that up. I did not ask, like they had a call sheet thing or whatever they call it with that. I don't know. They had that. They could have faked it. I don't know. I choose to believe it though, because it would be a very weird flex for this person to just throw out an anonymous lie. What I think is interesting about that isn't that they're doing a Kingpin pilot, it's that they're doing a pilot.
Yeah.
That they've shifted that model because they used to always do like Moon Knight, for instance, is a movie cut up into 6 sections.
Right.
And now, and they're moving toward a traditional kind of model, right?
Yeah. Well, that
pilot.
had been mentioned by, I think, was it Brad Winterbaum or one of the Marvel executives had mentioned that they were moving it more towards a more traditional studio release and development process after kind of some of the Disney Plus shows fell a little flatter than others. So it makes sense given that context. But yeah, the funny thing though is like Kingpin is something that is now a character that has appeared on 3 different shows. I mean, not MCU shows, but original Daredevil, Hawkeye, and Echo, right? So,
true. Yeah, sure.
And then we'll
I
be
was
in
trying to think of what other
Daredevil Born
Netflix
Again.
shows he was in, but you're right. Yeah.
So it'll be Daredevil Born Again will be the 4th. So it's like, this is maybe one of the more proven characters in the MCU or in the Marvel Studios world, and they're still piloting it, which makes me think perhaps it's not an origin story, but takes place possibly a different actor playing a younger Kingpin.
Really? I doubt
maybe.
that. I would think they would definitely want to take him and use Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, from the first trailer for Daredevil, back in 2014, you were like, oh my God, this is what I pictured, when I read those Frank Miller comics.
Right. Oh, I mean, he's incredible. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's already established. So I wonder, unless maybe they're going to do a limited series on his mayoral run or whatever.
I could be. I mean, we're going to see that in Daredevil Born Again. We've seen the Fisk for Mayor things. I think it's one of the few things they kept in Echo because it's still like was in continuity with their reworking of Daredevil.
Right.
It could be about him in prison. He goes to prison in the comics, and that's a whole story too. But then again, we've seen that on Daredevil season 2, so maybe not. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know where they want to go with him. I mean, I think we're all fingers crossed wanting to see him in the Spider-Man movie, or it could always just be called Kingpin, but it's not.
Right. I mean, I've auditioned for a few Marvel shows, and everything is coded. Not coded in the negative sense. Everything is secret. The show is called something different. The characters are all, no matter how I auditioned for She-Hulk and there was no mention of She-Hulk, and all of the characters ended up being, it was the support group, and every character was named something different than who they were. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if they're giving it the nickname Kingpin, that does imply in that world or someone is a Kingpin. I doubt if it's Nova, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
There was some great news this past week. I am like, of all the MCU news that I'm sure we're going to get, coming up with Comic-Con and I both Comic-Cons. I think D23 is this year too. God, I'm so sleepy already.
D23, baby.
Nuts. When is that? Is that in July or late?
D23 is in August because I just applied for press credentials. It is August 9th, I believe, is the big TV movie thing. They're actually doing it different this year. They always have it split up by days. Like one day is all about parks, one day is all about film and television.
Right.
But they're moving the big presentations to the Honda Center, which is the hockey arena in Anaheim, so that like literally thousands of people can be there for it. So they're going to be like 3-hour presentations from like 7 to 10 p.m. So
there's going to be leaked footage from that.
There's going to be tons of stuff at that. I mean,
okay.
Years ago, like a few years ago, I went to D23, and it was before it was like the first look at Echo, one of the first looks at Indiana Jones, and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, I remember that really famous photo of Indy and Short Round reunited.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what I'm looking forward to, though, of all the things that are probably going to be announced, is Vision Quest. This is a show I was already intrigued by because White Vision has this like whole identity crisis thing and the Ship of Theseus deal he's got going on. Also thinking he might gather together the Young Avengers, which is similar to what happens in the comic. But then they attached my boy Terry Matalas to it.
Mm-hmm.
Terry, and if you saw Picard season 3, absolutely gave us the perfect combination of old and new, of fan service, and also doing justice to characters. I just, 12 Monkeys, also an amazing show. The guy, he would disagree, but everything he touches seems to turn to gold. I'm so excited to see what he comes up with, him and his team. I mean, that to me has more potential than anything else in the MCU, because it seems like that is so untouched. That's like a little corner they can just go into and then use it to set up maybe something else.
Absolutely. And it kind of harkens back to the early MCU, where it was like, we're learning about characters that maybe aren't the sexy Spider-Man or X-Men character. Like these are kind of traditionally, unless you're a Marvel Comics aficionado, these are secondary characters to just the layman or standard comic or movie fan. We can explore White Vision with kind of a blank palette, right? Like blank canvas. Like they can do whatever, they can really create a world and use comics as source material. I'm excited for one. That is an excellent creative team. And we have the WandaVision creative team kind of moving on with Agatha, right? That's basically similar team. So they're still getting to tell their stories. And this is like, you're absolutely right. Picard season 3 is like a masterclass in towing the line of satiating hardcore Star Trek fans, especially Next Generation fans, obviously, and also telling a fantastic story and giving characters their due. So I'm very bullish on this project.
It's interesting too. Like Star Trek fans are notorious for being very hard to please, right? Even I'm sure there are detractors from the Wrath of Khan, like, it's just too actiony, too much that. Who hated?
I don't like that Ricardo Montalban's not. It's not his real chest. It's like a rubber chest or something.
Right. Or no, that's not what Khan wears. He wore this in the original show. So he's already dealt with those notoriously fickle fans, and MCU fans are kind of doing that Star Wars thing. We're evolving and fracturing and, liking this or that, or getting to the point where just like Star Wars fans would like to complain about the MCU almost as much as we like the MCU. So it'd be interesting to see what he comes up with for that, just in how he could appease a new sect of fans.
I'm excited. Nope, sorry.
Oh, no, Tommy, you, oh my God, no, sorry, you.
I'm excited, damn it.
There's other rumors that have been out lately. Moon Knight season 2. There's a pretty unsubstantiated rumor that it's going to focus on Jake Lockley as the main character instead of Steven. I think that's 100. I mean, that part I think is true. I don't think they know what Moon Knight season 2 is going to be yet, or they would have announced it. But definitely going to set up the Midnight Suns, I would think. And speaking of Midnight Suns, what do you think about Blade being delayed again?
I think that they finally realized that they need to make the movie about Blade, because all of the production trouble seemed to be that they were trying to like shoehorn in all these different other characters, and that there was like, I mean, these are always, complaints on the internet are a grain of salt, but there was like one, I remember, pretty solid traction thing that was like Blade was only in 22 pages of the script or something like that.
Oh, because of like Kit Harington, Black Knight, and putting up the Midnight Suns.
Like, well, I don't know if that's, I'm sure that was a draft or I mean, the problem is with big studio movies, they're not a problem, but the reality is a lot of times there are a bunch of chefs in the kitchen doing different stages of rewrites, especially when it's coming down to like the technical side of the script and the stunts and sequences and how those are all going to play out. That being said, if they've got it seems to me like now they've realized like the movie is Blade, it should be R-rated. It absolutely should. If Deadpool's going to set the precedent that we can have R-rated MCU, movie.
Lower budget too, 50 to 70 million according to My Time to Shine Hello. So
yeah,
that's also take some of the pressure off of it too. I think a lot of these
Absolutely.
movies with their big budgets have too much pressure on them.
Yeah, and I think it also implies that this movie is going to be. I mean, it sounds funny to say stripped down when it's a movie about a vampire, but it's like Blade kind of does fight on a very street level in comic book terms. Like he goes into warehouses and fights the bad guys in the warehouses. He goes into nightclubs and fights the bad guys in the nightclubs. There's not like him on an asteroid, firing a cosmic weapon at some sort of celestial. So it's like, yeah, maybe they just.
I don't know. So you're saying you don't think we'll get a CGI blood monster like in Blade 1?
Well,
remember that? Like the guy gets cut in half.
It's
and it's
true.
Like a blood
That's a
demon,
good point.
and
Listen,
it's very
if we can bring the blood monster back, I also think I have heard from a fairly good source that Wesley Snipes is showing up in Deadpool. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but I have reason to believe that Wesley Snipes will be showing up as his Blade in Deadpool versus Wolverine. And I'm wondering if, as will many characters kind of get wiped off of the face of existence in that movie. I think I'm wondering if we won't get any details, obviously, before that movie comes out.
I would be shocked if he let his Blade die, but I definitely think he'll show up. I mean, at this point, I mean, if the rumors are true, Affleck Daredevil,
right?
If Ben Affleck is signing on to do that, I think they could get anybody. And I think part of it is that in Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds just has this great reputation. Like he seems like a genuinely good person. People love working with him. And I just think a lot of people are saying yes because, Hugh Jackman said yes. That sounds cool. It's kind of what I was hoping this would have been 20 years ago.
Totally.
That sounds fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I just saw, kind of perfect point of that. I just saw If in the voice cast of that movie. I mean, obviously there's a lot of like Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds' wives both do it, but the voice cast is incredible. You got like Bradley Cooper, George Clooney, Matt Damon, all these people. It's like, people just kind of want to work with Ryan Reynolds, I think, which is a testament to, like you said, him being one of the rare, decent guys.
At least he comes off that way. I've never met the man. He won't come.
Secret. We're going to find out on his deathbed that he was a terrifying monster, but by then hopefully we'll.
You heard it here first, guys. ScreenCrush reporting Ryan Reynolds is a terrifying monster. Also, my time to shine. Hello, I had a comment about Sydney Sweeney. Like the rumor is that she's been cast as the Black Cat. My Time to Shine Hello's theorized that it was actually she's been cast as the Blonde Phantom in this MCU show that Scarlett Johansson's producing.
What a call! I mean, that's like an OG. Was it Sid Shores, Stan Lee? My favorite thing is I did a little research on Blonde Phantom before this, and one of her special skills is listed as fantastic secretary. So I'm thinking we're going to have to. But I think she was designed as a kind of reverse Superman thing for Marvel. So it was like, she's the secretary for this private detective. And then by night, she's this fabulous hero who the detective is in love with.
But I love how they also had to point out she's a good secretary. Like, it's like with Clark Kent, we don't really know he's a good reporter. Say what?
During the day, she's great at her job. I mean, it's not
well, that means more to me then. As long as she's, good at every aspect of her life. I don't really care if she can fight crime or not. So that's interesting. I definitely think they'd be missing the boat if she wasn't the Black Cat. And if you're going to, I don't think that they should have MJ back. I think that's done. You need to move forward. I'm tired of franchises looking backward. I think that'd be great casting. But the one that I keep going back to of all these rumors, right, is Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So MCU casting. It's pretty much been confirmed. He has said fans will be surprised, and now there's rumors that he'll also be in a Disney Plus show. So you kind of look at like the makeup of what they've got coming up and Secret Wars, X-Men, and at this point, casting may not even be like they're supposed to start shooting Secret Wars soon, I think. So this casting may be like phase 7. It might not be anywhere near. Yeah. But where do you think he's going to land, or where do you hope? Like,
can I give my rocket ship way out there? Theory.
Go. Yeah.
I want him to play a practical version of Mojo and like a slightly changed. I'm not kidding.
I love it. I'm
not kidding. I love the idea with that voice and that theatricality and that showmanship of him running a Mojo verse where he's running a cosmic film production studio and capturing our favorite MCU heroes and forcing them to create content. It's so 2024. He's making the heroes become influencers. And I want him to grow as they established in X-Men 97. When the content is poor and the ratings are down, he gets smaller. and when the ratings go back up, he gets bigger. I think a limited series. I know it's not. I know that we probably deserve better, or he deserves better in terms of a more meaty role. But if you gave me 6 to 7 episodes of a Mojo-verse limited series on Disney Plus where he kidnaps people from the MCU and is making them become part of his evil content creation machine to power his empire, I would be in love with it. Now, on a stripped down level, I could see, I'd like to see him in the X-Men world. I think a lot of people would, and it seems like it's going that way. Obviously, one of the big rumors I know that you've probably already mentioned is Doom, but I could definitely see him, as a Bolivar Trask. I could see him as, people have said Xavier or Magneto.
I like Gyrick.
You like Henry Gyrick?
Well, here's why. And one of our editors who's producing this, so if something goes wrong, it's Lee's fault. Lee told me earlier he's also rumored to appear in Brave New World.
Ooh.
So you look at that, you go, well, government stuff. Gyrick would be cool. And the neat thing about Gyrick is in the comics, he's not just this like mutant hater. He's also the government liaison to the Avengers, right?
Right.
Who also doesn't like the X-Men and tries to take away Storm's powers and is a total like racist a-hole. Yeah. So there's that aspect of it. And then that's a character who's a little villainous. He's also somebody who works for the government. He could pop up in the Thunderbolts and we could introduce him now. So when the X-Men come around, okay, here's this guy who works for the government we've met before. It's not as juicy as like a Norman Osborn.
Sure, but it's kind of like it's like a nefarious Everett K. Ross, who we all know Everett K. Ross will become Dr. Doom. Everybody knows that is.
I've always thought Martin Freeman should be the top choice to play that role. Him or Cillian Murphy, I guess. Whatever.
If we have to have Cillian Murphy, but Ross's Doom is a flag that I've flown above my house for years. But I like Giancarlo as Gyrick. I just think that they can obviously make that role very meaty, and like you said, could travel over the course of several films and could appear as, I just mean it analogously to Everett K. Ross and Martin Freeman. He can show up for 2 minutes. He can show up for 20 minutes. It still seemingly always has an impact in whatever Marvel project he's in. So yeah, I love that. I think that that an actor like Giancarlo Esposito that loves to work is someone that you kind of want to be a utility player in your franchise that you can stick into TV.
But I'll tell you who I really want to see him play is Kang. I would love to see him be the Kang variant who comes in. I'm not the first person to say this at all, but I'm like, look, Kang's a great character in the comics. Yeah. The rumor is they were going to dump Jonathan Majors even just after Quantumania underperformed, but that wasn't his fault that it underperformed. I just think that character, again, like I read the comics before the movies came out. So like I always kind of see these characters as these like eternally existing concepts. And I just want to see that character done justice and not, beat to hell by ants.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that is I think we do desire a more fulfilling Kang presence in the MCU. And I think that someone like Giancarlo Esposito is such a smart thing, even if you cast several actors as Kangs, right? Like, even if moving forward, you're like, you know what, the Kang variants are no longer all going to look alike. They're just going to have a similar soul or whatever. They're just going to have that core, that conqueror core to them that eventually they'll all kind of break bad, and no pun intended for Giancarlo Esposito. But I love that idea. And I feel like that's such a fulfilling way to continue Kang in the MCU, because right now it's such a false start, right? Like, it's like, we got Kang, we got him in Ant-Man. Like you said, that wasn't his fault. And then whatever you say about Jonathan Majors as a person, which we're not getting into here, it's like his performance in Quantumania wasn't the problem with the character. It was just kind of like, they just kind of never really figured out what to do with him, because it's such a huge. While at the same
time trying to use him everywhere. So it's a shame. It's the first time we've really seen like a false start in the MCU. It's not like they teased Thanos and then they had to walk back Thanos. That would have been really tough. Well, Tommy, thanks for all your comments. I'll let you go. Guys, now I want to talk to everybody. I want to get your own super chats, your questions, things like that. And we're going to bring on a couple ScreenCrush people here. We've got Srinidhi Rao. Let's see if she can come up on the screen. Hey, Shri, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
I am doing good. So Shri does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You've probably seen her on our social channels, which she manages. She manages interns. She does a lot of the merch stuff. And she's also incredibly smart and loves the stuff we talk about. And we also have someone else you've seen on the channel before, Brianna McLarty. Brianna writes a lot of our videos. She appears in a lot of videos. And we're really, really happy to see both of you here. So I want to start going through some of these questions. And hopefully I don't talk over everybody like I always do and answer them. But we've got from Blue Hair Guy, more ScreenCrush live. When are we going to get a tour of the full store? But my question is for Tommy. Sorry, Tommy's gone, so I'll answer for him. If you could make an MCU character into a Deadpool style popcorn bucket, who would it be and why? So I'm sure Tommy, if he were here, would say his answer would, of course, be Blade. Blade would probably be his answer. As far as the live show, we're talking about it. We really want to do a tour. It would have to be like when we did the show in Brooklyn, we had the whole staff there because we're primarily based out of New York. It would have to be scaled down. It would have to be like me and Doug on video or something. We want to. We're looking into it. It's just that it's time. There's a crazy amount of stuff going out now, you know. Who's this next one from? Super chat from Monkey Work. What are your top picks for fan service MCU characters fights that we haven't seen, and how would you make them happen? I'm hoping for Hulk versus Wolverine. You took my favorite answer. Brianna or Shri, do you guys have an answer to that?
I do. I don't think it's ever going to happen, partially because I think both of these characters are probably just like gone out of the MCU. But I would love to see Wanda versus Kang. Like when Wanda died in MOM, the big reason I was like, she can't die is because no one else is going to defeat Kang. So I would love to see her in Secret Wars fight him. I really don't think it's going to happen. I don't even really know if they're going to bring back Kang. It kind of seems like Elizabeth Olsen is done with the MCU. But I think that would be awesome just because I think it would be such a like epic mashup, and I think it's one of the very few characters who can like really take her, because even Doctor Strange can't take her. We saw that.
I don't think she's done with the MCU at all. I think that there's a rumored Scarlet Witch movie, and I don't think she wants to go out like that. I think it's a character she put a lot of time into. So I think we'll see her again.
I hope so. I love Wanda. So
Shri, do you have an answer?
Good question. I have no clue how this would happen. I just I want the vibes to be there so bad, but not necessarily just a fight. A fight would be cool, but Deadpool and Spider-Man.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be just fun. And the type of humor, not just the quippy MCU humor that we're all really accustomed to now, but I think Deadpool's style of humor and meta humor would be so fun with Spider-Man, and especially their like camaraderie in the comics. I would just love to see that happen. And if a fight comes from it, whether it be misunderstanding or just training wise, I would just love to see both of those guys together.
You also have like Wade talking to Peter Parker. You're going to bring in so many fun meta jokes there, as far as like Sony not sharing them or not sharing them, or, you know, Wade, are you over here yet? There's like all these little in jokes they can make there that Sony would probably, you know, put before 1 million focus groups and then shoot down. Or if he could be like, I loved you in Madam Web, you know, something like that, because he's
funny.
Technically in it. My answer is, it's kind of basic, but it's Daredevil and Spider-Man. Like when Spider-Man came out in 2002 and then in 2004 and Daredevil came out in 2003, to me, even though it was different studios, it seemed like this is a no-brainer. You got to get these guys on screen because they have one of my favorite superhero relationships in the comics. But I know you said fight, but of course they're going to fight when they first meet. They always do. That's part of the fun of writing these team up stories is, well, how do they make them fight? And what would it look like if Thor fought Iron Man and stuff like that? We got a new one here from Prince. I don't know if it's Al Comics or AI Comics. What do you think of the Venom 3 plot? I haven't heard about the Venom 3 plot. Do you guys know what it is?
I also don't know.
I know the name is like The Last Dance or something like that, right?
Yeah. I'm excited that it seems like they're closing out the trilogy, because for a while I kind of thought there wasn't going to be a Venom 3. So yeah. I'm excited they're closing out the trilogy, even though I think those movies are a lot of fun, even if I don't think they're like the best superhero movies ever. I enjoyed both of them when I watched them. So
well, yeah, whenever it becomes about Venom and Eddie just hanging out, that's my favorite stuff in it. Like that's that buddy dynamic they have. Whenever it's trying to be a superhero movie, it's awful.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't there a rumor that it was going to tie into Madam Web somehow?
There was. I remember that rumor.
What was that rumor? Do you guys remember? If you guys know in the comments, let us know too.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
There was a character from Madam Web, not Madam Web herself. She's far too busy saying bless you before people sneeze.
Yeah.
There was a rumor that someone was going to be in there, that it was going to like definitely, or like it was going to be a 10-year-old Peter Parker maybe that's in the Madam Web timeline. I don't know. I really want someone to hack Sony again, because I desperately want to see the insider, like what they thought they were doing with Madam Web and this villain verse and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
think
would love that.
I don't even know if villain verse is still going to happen, man. This is like Craven's
I don't
push
know.
to 2028 or whatever now. I don't know.
They pushed it.
I made that up. I made that up. They did push it again.
Oh.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out. I'm lying.
Because, you know,
It was in August, and I think they pushed it back again, right?
we love it when Madam Web, you know, laughs when Ben and his parents are gonna die.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the episode, actually, or of the movie. You know, when yeah, I know what you mean when he says that, oh, he likes being an uncle because there's no responsibility, and she's like, that's what he thinks. Yeah, because your brother's gonna die. Ha 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 ha. We've got another one here from Audrey Arnatask. What are our thoughts on Agatha, or whatever the title is now? First of all, I think the title changed because they were revealing episode titles. So what looked like they didn't know what they were doing actually just was them like being clear, I think, with the marketing.
I think they said for sure that like the reason they did that, and it actually really bothers me that they didn't drop the trailer because of this, or like they didn't drop it to the general public. They said it was because like Agatha would change the titles, and Agatha would.
It was Agatha
keep
all
messing
along.
it. Yeah, it was truly like
That-
Agatha all along, even with the titles, which kind of makes sense because in WandaVision, obviously she's the only one aware she's in a TV show. So I kind of wonder if we're gonna get something like a meta level again if she was changing the titles, or if she put somebody else in TV show. That would also be cool.
I personally, I'm excited for Agatha. There's a thing right now with MCU stuff, right, where during the Bob Paycheck era, they were basically wringing everything they could out of all IP. Like Jenny Nicholson just put up that great 4-hour video about Star Cruiser, about that really goes into like Galaxy's Edge and how he took that and, you know, presumably, I don't have proof, I wasn't there, but like choked all the life out of it to get all the money out of the IP that he could. The same thing happened with Disney and Star Wars, where they were just like, put more stuff out, put more stuff out, put more stuff out. So you get things like Echo, which wasn't ready. Because it wasn't ready because it didn't connect with the rest of the universe, because Daredevil wasn't ready. And a lot of these things just need to take their time. That's why I'm excited about Agatha. They've had 4 years almost since WandaVision. So I think that they will have, I don't think they're going to put it out at this point and have it be bad. What do you think, Brianna? I know you're a huge WandaVision fan.
Yeah, I love WandaVision. I love Agatha. Clearly, I'm a really big fan. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited that so much of the team is returning. The only thing I'm like worried about it, I also really hope it's funny, because I think that's like part of my favorite thing with Agatha is that she's pretty scary. She's also hilarious. Like the fact that she made her own theme song to reveal herself is so funny to me. Like I really hope they keep that kind of sass, and I think that Catherine Hahn is great at that. So I think as long as they lean into that, it'll go really well. And I also agree, I don't think they're going to put out a bad show, especially because WandaVision is like pretty beloved among its fan base. Like I knew a lot of people who didn't watch Marvel, who didn't watch like superhero stuff really, that loved WandaVision. So I think they're probably going to try to do that again.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Sheree, what about you? What do you think about Agatha? What are we going to be looking at here?
Honestly, kind of what Brianna said. I just hope they keep the humor, because Catherine Hahn, that's her specialty, right? And we've seen she can be serious and scary when she wants to, but again, I don't want it to be another MCU where it's like, okay, quips have just become standard practice. And, you know, when you have a comedic actor as talented and well-versed as she is, you really got to use, you know, all the, you know, talents that you were given. I really hope they keep the meta like commentary going as well, because that was one of my favorite things during WandaVision. I remember every episode that dropped, I was like having my notepad out and like thinking of like, what were we comparing it to? Some like Fallout or Pleasantville kind of bubble that they keep everything at. We're like finding
It's a
clues
special show.
ourselves.
That was just for all of us. I mean, it was a special show because it was great, but also such a special show for, we weren't vaccinated yet. We were all still at home, and for ScreenCrush especially, like that really, all you guys watched. A lot of you probably watching this found us through WandaVision, and I'm still like amazed at the following that we got from that show. I really appreciate it. We got a couple more here though. We got Ryan Barry, who is saying, Ryan Barry, I'll see you at the next Ryan meeting, by the way. How concerned are you about Captain America: Brave New World and then being on 4 reshoots, as in like number 4 reshoots? I am excited about Captain America: Brave New World. I always have been, and reshoots can mean a lot of problems for movies. The MCU builds reshoots into their schedule too much, so I think they go in too much without a script. Apparently, the early screenings for this didn't do well. I think it's going to be one of those things where, like the writer's strike in 2007 saved Jesse Pinkman on Breaking Bad. I think Marvel got on their hands and knees and were thankful for this strike because it gave them a chance to retool their TV unit, like Tommy and I talked about earlier with doing pilots. And I think that with Brave New World and Thunderbolts, it just gave them a chance to say, okay, let's really work this out. So I'm excited about it. What do you guys think?
You can go first, Sheree. Unless
I'm hesitantly positive towards it. Well, you know what? Let's call it neutral, because
Okay.
I really think they're taking their time. Like, reshoots aren't always a bad thing. We always consider it just like, oh, that's scary. But, if they are taking their time, I don't want to go into a movie and like already hating it, because I like to be pleasantly surprised. And I really just take it as, they're taking their time with it. They're listening to focus groups, listening to how people want it to come out. And so I will say, hesitantly, I'm looking forward to it. And also I'm interested to see Harrison Ford doing his new Thunderbolt Ross, right?
Yeah, and probably Red Hulk. The McDonald's toy leaked and showed that. Brianna, what about you? So Shree's cautiously optimistic or cautiously neutral. I'm excited. And you?
I don't want to say I'm going in hating it. I am really scared for it. And I think part of that is because Secret Invasion was so bad. Like, I think I'm a little scared for most MCU projects now, which makes me really sad because I love the MCU and I want every project to be good. But I did personally lose faith in Marvel a little bit. And since this, obviously it's not going to be the exact same tone, but it is more like government and like that. It's more rooted in that. That really freaks me out, especially if it's supposed to build off Secret Invasion at all, which it seems like it's supposed to a little bit. And so I think they're kind of already starting at like a deficit. And
there was a rumor though that the events of Secret Invasion weren't even mentioned in the script, if you can believe that. So
that also is kind of a problem. Like, right? Like, I hate
with Secret
that
Invasion, yeah, not necessarily with this movie.
Yeah.
Do you guys hope that it has the kind of tone as Winter Soldier did?
Yes.
Oh yeah. My God, yeah. Of course. That would be amazing.
I hope so.
I thought Secret Invasion would. I mean, Secret Invasion had the best 5-minute opening of any MCU show outside of WandaVision. And then literally every minute after it's like Office Space. Every minute after was a little bit worse than the minute that came before. Yeah. Not that it didn't have its high points. It did. Like, did it? And what about you? What about you, beloved? Like, all that stuff was great, but oh God. Let us know what you really thought of Secret Invasion down in the comments. Pete Britton asks, once the X-Men are fully in the MCU, is there a particular comic you would like to see adapted? I can take that first because I've recently read a bunch of X-Men comics. Anything where they go to space, to be honest. There is an X-Men run where they go and they're inhabited by the Brood, this parasitic alien species. It's a better told comic story than Dark Phoenix, because Dark Phoenix, like, it's the Hellfire Club and there's this, and then she's briefly pulled into space, the Macron crystal. It gets complicated. The main thing about the Dark Phoenix saga is that Jean sacrifices herself. The Brood story, there's a part where like they all know they have aliens in them and they all know they're going to die. They will die. And they're all like, Kitty Pryde is a 13-year-old. who just got started in her life as a superhero, and she's facing death, and it's some really heavy stuff. It's a great comic. I recommend it for anybody. I think it was Dave Cockrum and Chris Claremont. I think it's after John Byrne left. Shree, Brianna, I don't know how much of the X-Men comics you guys have read, but do you have a particular favorite?
I don't have a particular favorite because I think they're like really high and low points of a lot of the comics. But one thing I am nervous about is I assume they're going to be touching on Age of Apocalypse in the next season, considering Apocalypse and
of X-Men 97.
Of X-Men 97,
yeah,
specifically.
Yeah.
And so I know this is it technically MCU 97 or not? I don't think
multiverse.
It is, right?
Yeah, the Watcher was there. Yeah.
I'm interested if they're going to do Age of Apocalypse justice in the second season, and I am very interested on how they're going to do Gambit again, because I know everybody had a very emotional reaction to Gambit dying. Spoiler. Sorry. Gambit's fate.
No, you can say it's several weeks old now. Sorry.
Gambit's dead. Kind of. But I know
I remember
a really emotional point. And I made my peace with it. I'm a giant Gambit fan.
Right? Oh, there's our Remember It t-shirt.
Plug in the merch. Thanks, guys. But I made my peace, and we're like, okay, it's showing that there's actual stakes here in like characters dying, but I do know he's Horseman of the Apocalypse and he appears as Death. So I really hope they do the character justice and not become like a typical MCU character where they just come alive anytime. Like you can't even assume that they're dead all the time.
Come back as one of the Horsemen of Apocalypse like he does in the comic. I hope he does, but like for the reasons you said. Brianna, do you have a particular comic book story, X-Men story comic you want to see adapted?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't have like nearly as much like knowledge about the X-Men comics as you guys do, but I am really excited for when they do the Avengers versus X-Men, just because I think it's going to be a really cool movie with great, if they do it right, it'll have like the coolest fight scene shots. Like I hope it's like Endgame level fight scene shots. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. And you look at like X3, and we deride that movie a lot, but it also had like it was the first like massive superhero battle shot. Filmed with dark leather on a dark background, but still, it looked cool. We've also got.
Sorry, 1 minute. We kind of saw this in WandaVision, but I hope House of M, like ever, because that's one of my favorite comics things ever. Sorry, continue.
House of M is one of those comics too, where I actually think it could be improved upon in a movie. Because I love the concept of House of M. I was never like 100% fond of the execution of it. So there's some to be honest, I thought the Winter Soldier story in the MCU is, I preferred it to what we got in the comics, because the comics, it brings in like the Cosmic Cube and a bunch of other stuff. So it gets a little too, I don't know, a little too sprawling. And I like the concise, direct story that we got in the MCU. We've got Kyle Anderson. Hey, Kyle. Since we didn't get him in WandaVision, will we get the MCU's most powerful and smartest magic user, Stephen Strange, on Agatha? That opens up a whole other question of how they're using Stephen Strange, and is he being used to his fullest potential? I would be shocked if he appeared on Agatha, because it would overshadow her too much in the show, and I don't think we'll see him till multiverse stuff comes along when he's with Charlize Theron. What do you guys think? Are we going to see the smartest and wisest magic user, Doctor Strange? Brianna?
I really hope we don't, because I am a professional, as in I wrote a video. I'm a professional Doctor Strange hater. I really hope we don't. I don't think we'll see him because he'll get too overshadowed. But I do think we'll see Wong. And I think he's the wisest magic user. So I think we will see the wisest magic user. No, I don't think we'll see Doctor Strange. So I am excited to see him in multiverse stuff, even if he isn't my personal favorite character.
I don't know. Wong, look, man, what was going on with the Abomination thing? That to me really felt like they set something up in Shang-Chi and they didn't have a plan for it, and then they let them pay it off in She-Hulk, and it was really unsatisfying. like especially if his excuse was true. Like if he's like, I just want to practice, like that's really silly. That's not as silly as say erasing the entire world's memories so a kid could get into college, but it is silly that would be a plot point that they would use. So I disagree on him being the strongest and wisest magic user. Shree, what about you? Do you think we're going to see Doctor Strange?
Honestly, I think I don't have a particular, if I see him, okay, it is what it is. If I don't see him, that's fine. I do agree that if he is shown, he will probably be overshadowing Agatha, simply because they do the MCU thing of leveraging too much on the characters that were already there. So they're not letting new characters kind of have their time and also be a very fundamental part of the MCU. So if it happens, hopefully they don't, lean on him too much.
Gotcha.
I think it would be really cool if we saw Madison from She-Hulk though. Like Wong.
Oh yeah,
just, like,
she can appear in
that
anything.
Would be so funny,
Yeah.
and I would love it. She's like, I'm in a TV show. Cool.
It's strange that so much of MCU fandom, especially, is so hard on She-Hulk. We've done videos on it ourselves, even though I like a lot of the show. But it seems like Madison is one of those. She's like Dolly Parton. She's just the thing that the whole country can agree on. We just love that character, and I really wish she had a spinoff.
Yeah, I would watch a spinoff. I would love a spinoff.
But just her stumbling into various like events in the MCU.
Yeah.
Heavy spoiler super chat. If you read this, you smell. See, joke's on you, a-hole, because you haven't just said that I smell. You've said to every honorable, good, decent, hardworking ScreenCrush viewer who happens to scroll through the comments, you've told them that they smell. We do appreciate the super chat, though. So you should be ashamed of yourself, and you actually owned yourself. How's that feel, Paul, from Heavy Spoilers? Samathy asks, could the TVA scene of Deadpool replacing Loki from Thor 2 that takes place in the future take place in a future Deadpool's Secret Wars? Okay, wait, hold on. Yes, okay. There was footage that they didn't release where it shows Deadpool, where Thor's cradling Deadpool's body, and I think they just like swapped Loki out and they put Deadpool in. I think that's what they're talking about. Yeah, why not? That'd be fun. You answered your question. I agree. I think it's a really good theory, and you should write the movie. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think that'd be cool. I wonder if it's gonna. I kind of wonder if that's actually not gonna be real though. If like the TVA just like put him in there to kind of like mess with his mind, because I don't really trust the TVA in the Deadpool movie.
Yeah,
I know, but isn't that weird though? Like, again, I wonder how much the left hand's talking to the right hand. Like, is there like a different TVA? Is it a branch within the TVA? Is there, I'm curious to see how that goes along with the big glowy tree. I kind of think they'll show the big glowy tree and then we'll like zoom in on Loki and Deadpool's going to say, well, how does he poop? Or I think they'll acknowledge it in some way that like brushes it to the side, but I'm not sure. Shree, what do you think?
I think they have to at least show Loki a little bit just to not only maintain continuity, but they're definitely not done with that whole TVA and explaining how he's connected, because I definitely think they're going to do something where he's holding the timelines together, right? All of a sudden, so there's going to be something like, especially with Secret Wars, that a vine is going to be shot off or something. So they have to show him here at least. I don't know if it's going to be like a gag one-off kind of joke thing, or it's going to be like the premise at the beginning of it to have Paradox and the whole TVA say, hey, we need you here.
I also think it might be two branches running into each other. Like, I have kind of like formulated a theory that maybe kind of what we saw at the end of the Marvels, one of the reasons it happened was the branches like literally got too close, and that was why it was like when Darben used the big thing and split over the universe, that's why those two hit each other. So I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be like a big issue, is like, because basically even if they don't prune timelines, they still kind of have to like trim or guide them so they don't like run into each other. If there's going to be like too many timelines that start like running real close together, and like very little events can like cause them to totally crash.
Yeah, I think that's what an incursion could be defined as then. I don't know, when they start to get into like literal timeline, I think they are doing that, and I think your theory could be 100% right. I don't really jive with it though, because I'm like, what? So the universes are literal strings that can just bash together like action figures. To me, that just seems a little too literal. But maybe, I mean, again, we could just be looking at like a figurative representation of some deep celestial cosmic truth that our brains can't comprehend unless we see it as a tree. That's a whole other YouTube channel. We've also got a super chat from Jose. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Maiz. Are you going to do Umbrella Academy videos? I love Umbrella Academy. It is a great show. The problem with doing Umbrella Academy is they drop them all in the same day. So instead of talking about each episode, we have to just talk about the ending, like an ending explained. We also would love to do videos breaking down each character, videos, reacting to it, video essays, videos about like, maybe the professor was right, things like that. But when they dump them all in one day and you don't get advanced screeners to plan your videos out, it's really hard. But I do love the show. Do you guys watch Umbrella Academy?
I personally don't, but I've heard great things about it.
I've yet to start. It's on my binge watch list.
It's fantastic. And I will probably do at minimum like a recap video for you guys. I don't know. We'll see. I'll reach out to Netflix. I've had bad trouble with Netflix in the past. If I can get advanced screeners so we can at least write the video ahead of time, that would be really nice. But it's tricky. There's so many things that I would just love to, like, I love the show Severance. I love the show For All Mankind. It sounds like Apple's paying me. They're not, but I would take your money if you're watching Apple Plus. But there's 100 shows. Oh, Fargo, the final season of Fargo. I wanted to cover that, but it's just so hard when there's so many other things going on. So I hope so. Super chat from Hyung Ho Cha. I hope I pronounced your name right. Sorry if I didn't, but I just figured barrel ahead and accept the consequences if it was wrong. More Wong. I love Wong. Everybody loves Wong.
Wong.
Everybody loves Wong. I'm just saying the way they handled Wong and his fighting with Abomination was a big waste of a cool concept. Gavin the Goliath says, do you think that Loki will be in Deadpool? I've already given my answer. I think he will be shown on his stool and that Deadpool will make a poop joke.
Pretty much the same. They're not. If Tom Hiddleston doesn't actually come on to set, they're just gonna show the tree or like the vines, and they're gonna say, Loki there, and then they're probably gonna tease at the very end if they're still doing post-credit scenes, like something going wrong with the tree or like a vine snapping or the incursion, and then they're just gonna be like Secret Wars or King Dynasty or whatever.
I think that's the most likely thing. I doubt if he'll shoot new footage. I think he would come back to the character, but I think is a good place to retire. Brianna, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we definitely won't see him as like a big part of the movie. It would be much more of like a cameo appearance, in my opinion, just because I think with the TVA, we've talked about this, like Marvel having this problem. It's all their TV shows. Like that's a lot for people to have to watch. And I think they're going to be able to like explain the TVA pretty concisely. But if you start like really bringing in the entire plot of Loki, it's just going to be like, you're going to have to spend a lot of the movie being like, oh yeah, and there's like this variant, he was kind of dated, and it's just going to be too much versus like, if we just like are like, oh, the TVA guides timeline, so crazy stuff doesn't happen. That's like pretty easy to explain. It's kind of like the Infinity Stones. You could just kind of list them.
Yeah, and if you look, which properties, which Disney Plus shows have actually affected the movies? WandaVision and Ms. Marvel, right? The two biggest. So I thought they did an exceptionally poor job in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness of explaining Westview and Wanda. I think with that one, it wasn't too big of a problem because that show is such a cultural touchstone. Even if you didn't watch it, you probably got it through osmosis. But as far as Kamala Khan, they did no legwork in that movie to explain who this girl is, why she has powers, why are we talking to her family.
And Monica was really like even more poorly explained because she's not even like a main character in her own show. Like you couldn't just like Google like Monica TV show. Like you would have had to like figure out she's from WandaVision and then like figure out who her character was.
I think if you were just watching WandaVision, or sorry, if you watched Captain Marvel and then you watched the sequel, you'd be like, oh, okay, so the kid's grown up and she got powers somehow. But that's not a very satisfying character arc. Like it doesn't tell you something about that person, We've also got a couple here. We're going to wrap it up soon, guys, because we've got stuff to do and naps to take. But we've got another super chat from Hyung Ho Cha, who says, would you cover The Bear season 3? So awesome. I love The Bear. One of the best shows of the decade. I was super excited to cover The Bear season 3. And then Hulu decided to drop every episode on the same day. So that really, really hurts our ability to cover it because I personally don't want to binge watch these shows. I think binge watching is fun if you want to be on your phone while you're watching something. But when you're actually trying to consume great entertainment like The Bear, you're missing out if you're trying to watch 8 straight hours of it. So maybe an ending explained. I would love to do a video breaking down the one shot tracking shot from season 1. But even then, if I was going to do that, I would contact someone who worked on the show and ask for schematics and show where the camera went and things like that. Like, do either of you watch The Bear?
I don't.
I don't, but I'm trying to get into it because of that meme going around.
Okay. Well, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, if you ever worked back of house, which boy I have, it causes flashbacks. Like, who among us hasn't cried in the walk-in? Super chat from Alfredo Olivio, ideal actor for a post-Secret Wars Wolverine. That's a great question. I'm bad at casting questions. I'm curious if either of you have any thoughts on this. Jeremy Allen White, he's getting thrown around a lot.
I would like him as a Wolverine. I kind of like the idea, though, of a short king actor.
I'm thinking Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, I would want someone a little beefier than Daniel, because that's kind of my favorite thing about Wolverine, especially in the animated show. He's so tiny and so big. I kind of want a little short king.
I saw some BTS photos. I saw some BTS footage of him. He's buff now. He's playing a white supremacist in a movie. At least I hope it was BTS footage and it wasn't him wearing his casual white supremacist gear. But he is jacked for this movie. He looks really big.
Okay, so then him. I think that'd be cool.
All right, cool. Sheree?
Yeah. If he does have has been training for the physique of Wolverine, I think he can do a really good job for the role. I haven't seen him any superhero kind of content, so not sure. But I'm also very bad at casting, so
I'm terrible at it. I have a friend who's great at it, and he's always sending me actors I've never heard of, or I know their character, but not their act. But they're not their. I almost said their actor name. I know their character name, but not their government name. And I'm like, who the hell is that? He's like, Jamie Lannister. I'm like, oh yeah, Jamie Lannister, that guy.
Oh, Nikolai Coster-Waldau. You don't know Nikolai Coster-Waldau?
Well, I know it when I see it written down. Couldn't actually. If you put me on the spot, I wouldn't know. I have to retain a lot of knowledge for this job. And there's certain things, it's like what Sherlock Holmes said, just the mind is an attic and you got to let some stuff go, except in his case, it was to make room for opium and boxing. So Ian Morris asked, do you think it's weird that Captain America 4 seems to have so many Hulk characters, but he's not in it? First of all, we don't know that he's not in it. And no, they're going back to a corner of the MCU that they feel is underdeveloped, and they're drawing some really cool characters from it. That's my take so far. Maybe if She-Hulk would have been a big rating smash, maybe she would have been in it. What do you guys think? Are we relying too much on the Hulk characters at this point? You're both more nervous about Brave New World than I am.
I don't think they're necessarily relying too much on it. I wouldn't be upset with some Hulk characters. I just want the Hulk and his little child to be in space. I do not want to see his child in the movie. But I think Red Hulk, I think the Hulk movie being as not great as it is, I do feel we kind of missed something back in 2008 when it came out. And so I do agree with you. I think it is cool to start building stuff up. I honestly forget that movie exists sometimes. So I wouldn't be upset about kind of having a Hulk origin character thing part 2. I think that would be cool, because I always felt he kind of got the short end of the stick.
All right, we got our last question here. It's a super chat. It's from Ian Hunter. Especially with the Acolyte releasing, I hope you do another one of these for Star Wars, please, for light and life, which is the motto of the Jedi and the High Republic novels. I understood that reference. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I like doing this. This is fun. I'm kind of surprised we got so many questions about, I know we put Marvel in the headlines, so maybe that's why. I thought we would get more questions just about ScreenCrush than we did Marvel stuff. So I was kind of surprised. I'm happy. I love talking about Marvel. But yeah, I also just, if you're watching, if you're still watching, if I open up another tab, the computer will die. So I'm not going to do that. But if you do have anything at the channel, we're hoping to do some other stuff, right? We're covering the same things. We're hoping to expand into things like Umbrella Academy and The Bear. We really want to start doing podcasts, not every day, but every other week. We filmed one earlier today that I really like. I think you guys are going to love. So I want to know that, and ideas for merch or whatever else, things that annoy you guys about the channel. I say this to our staff 100 times, like, this isn't my channel. This is our channel. We all share this, and we wouldn't be here without all of you guys who for some reason like to listen to me journal into my dog about movies and TV shows all the time. So I just want to thank Shri and Tommy and Brianna for joining us here today, and for putting up with, and all of you for putting up with our live stream stuff. I want to thank everybody who watched, except for Paul from Heavy Spoilers. He knows what he did. So again, guys, if you like, tell us what you think, what you want us to see, what you want to see us do down in the comments, at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, hey, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.